Lord, yes, papi, hit me one time and make it funky.
I was brought up and told to have no bed. I was brought up and told to have no bed. I was brought up and told to have no bed.
Welcome to the Full Circle Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, David Roberts, along with the OG, Dr. Neil Holmes. Today, we have a special topic. We want to talk about mass incarceration, but specifically the mass incarceration of our Black men. Currently, there are 2.2 million people incarcerated in the United States. People of color make up 37% of the population, yet 67% of the prison population. And we just see that as a serious problem. So today I have two special guests, two gentlemen that I grew up with that have experience in the criminal justice system. And they're very eager to share their stories because they want to make sure that they help the next generation coming along. So we have with us Mr. Guy Brown and Mr. Reverend Darryl Mercer. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, man. I just appreciate y'all being on.
All is well. All is well.
Why don't we get started with Guy, since you're a couple years older than I call him Scout, so
Yeah.
For the sake of this, I call him the Reverend Mercer. Why don't we get started with your story? What was your first, I guess, foray into the criminal justice system? I know you started as a youth.
Yeah. That was my main thing. And it was basically trying to find love, you know what I mean? And just following the wrong crowd and making the wrong decisions. And as you know, I left when I was 14, 15, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I went to Indian River, and that started my path onto just being bad, just in and out of prison, in and out of different jails, you know what I'm saying? Because jail and prison is two different things. You understand what I'm talking about? So therefore, when I got in there, they wasn't trying to help you. They just wanted to put you away. They call you a menace. You know what I mean? It was more of gang banging. You know, I ran with the JDs. You know that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And doing ins and outs, doing odd things like that, just wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? And I ended up getting locked up from there. I'm fast forwarding a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I fast forwarded, came home. I got out in '88 and went back in '91. So that's my adulthood. You know what I mean? I went to Marion Institution. Bro, they was not trying to help me. Then come to find out I had a mental issue. You understand? A lot of people don't know that about me. Mm-hmm. And that's a serious subject. And a lot of people say they understand, but they don't. Even inside, they still hold you accountable for that. And the first thing they want to do is medicate you. Mm-hmm. That ain't good. You know what I'm saying? Instead of helping you, I mean, some medication that, if you do what you're supposed to do, but yet and still, you got to get God in your life, period. You know what I'm saying? And a mental issue in my point, this is just my point of view, you know what I'm saying, is that people will always say they understand, but if you never experienced it, you don't know nothing about it. So I'm going to fast forward a little more, and I ended up going to the federal penitentiary. Totally different. The government uses you as a guinea pig. Any drugs that come through, they have to give it to the inmates in a federal institution. Do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that. But once you go into the federal, that's government. That is the government. You understand? They put me on mental issues, different type of diabetes drugs. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You understand what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Instead of talking to me or getting me help, they want to medicate you. So all you can do is just go to sleep, eat, go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be bothered with you. And that's strictly for us African Americans, you know what I'm saying? And the brown people, the Mexicans, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You won't find too many white people going through that. You will, but not as many as you will the brothers. You know what I mean?
Right.
they had me zooted. You know what I'm saying? They call it Be Cool Juice. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that I can say is that I got God in my life. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when people say they found God because God was never lost. But I accepted God into my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that helped me, and I got off of that medicine. I got off of that medicine, man. You know what I'm saying? And now to look at me now, you'll never know. You would never know I was walking like a zombie. You know what I'm saying? Different drugs. You know what I'm saying? It was just crazy. Crazy. Mental drugs. I'm telling you, they don't do that. So I tell the young folks to listen and understand what you are doing. You understand? Don't nobody know you but you. You make the decisions. You make the decisions. It could be right or wrong. But no matter what you do, it always starts with you and it ends with you. And a lot of young folks, they think they know more than you. They think they know more than me. What can we do? But as black men, we already got a strike against us. We already got one strike against us. But it's how far as we go. You understand what I'm saying? With that education, man, we have to get educated. We have to show the youngins what it really is. We have to just take time out and just show them and talk to them. But a lot of them don't want to hear it. A lot of them don't want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You get to talking about spiritual stuff. They don't want to hear it. Bro, they don't want to hear it. I mean, it's a lot of things that they can get into. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Cooking. A lot of people don't understand that. But cooking calms me down. You know what I'm saying? When I cook something, it calms me down a lot. You know what I'm saying? My son and my wife tell me I got OCD. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? But I do it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's a lot of things that we can do to still stay on a straight and narrow path. Because to me, being cool and being understandable is walking the straight line, doing something different. I got my own business now, S&G. You know what I'm saying? I'm home. I got home in 2016. I moved to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? I rekindled with my wife, and I'm back home now. I'm back in Ohio. Woohoo! You know what I'm saying?
Oh wait.
So I try. Thank you. So I try to talk to a lot of young cats. You know what I'm saying? And let them know my story. Because if I can turn around, man, you know how I was.
Right.
You know how I was. Everybody from Warrensville know how I was. You know what I mean? And if you saw me now, you'll be like, whoa, total turnaround. I got custody of my son a year and a half after I got out of prison. I had my own place. I started getting my financials. And God just blessed me, man. And I haven't looked back since. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do nothing that got to put me back in them walls. Because the incarceration, we outnumber a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
We outnumber a lot of people in prison. You understand what I'm saying? Like you said at the beginning.
Right.
So therefore, if we talk to the youth and talk to even grown men, we can help somebody, Dave. We can help somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I hope my story can help a lot of people. You know, I fast forward a little bit, but you can ask me any question that you want to ask me, bro. I'm open to it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna come back and unpack a lot of your story because I want to go back to elementary school and you know with a couple of things. But let me go.
Okay.
Let me go to the Reverend Mercer. Now,
Okay.
Reverend Mercer, with you was a little different. You didn't have any experience in the juvenile justice system. It wasn't until you were an adult. So why don't you tell your story?
Well, mass incarceration, that is really the appropriate term because it's mass because they would grab people from all type of backgrounds. As Guy told you, he came up in the juvenile system. And as you just stated, I had no, juvenile record. Never had a DUI or anything of that nature. Was 32 years old, 3-time Gold Glove champion, undefeated professional boxer, had a great job working at Verizon Wireless. As you know, Dave, I was on TV, I was in the newspaper, and I caught an assault case. And my victim, it was no shooting, no punching, no touching, no nothing. So if anybody deserved a second chance, I really think I did and other people that I represent in that segment. But that's why it's mass incarceration, because if you black or you brown, they don't care. They don't care of your background. They don't care if this is your first time. They don't care it was an irrational mistake that you made, but yet nobody got hurt. It's mass incarceration, and we got another black man that made a mistake. Let's get him. Let's put a number on him. Let's get some more money, from the state from him. And like I say, don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of my crime, but like most black men, I was overcharged. It wasn't even a consideration of, some type of first timer program. I'm 32 years of age and never got in trouble. Like I say, I'm on TV and the newspaper, trying to make a life for myself. But that's when it showed me a glimpse of America as a black man when it comes to a second chance or them giving you any type of mercy. So black incarceration is real. I'm one of them. I can only fault myself, but now I know how the system works. And as Guy said, we can tell other youths that's coming behind us, listen, do not fall in that trap or do not do anything, for they can snatch you up and take you away from your family and your community.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the specific,
giving black men a second chance or slap on the wrist.
Now, Guy, going back to you, I remember,
Yes.
and it's interesting because, I've been in the secondary education for years, and I've have worked in various capacities in that field. So now I work as a school counselor, but prior to this, I worked for agencies where I had to go to different places and speak. And so when I would speak at elementary schools, I would always let them know that they start building prisons looking at the third grade population and looking at the reading scores for the third grade population. And it's amazing the things that you remember. I do remember, and no disrespect, I remember you being left back in the third grade. Okay.
Exactly.
So now as an adult, looking back on that, do you look at it, like I know there's many things that we've done as children, and some of it we look back and like, I needed somebody to put a foot in my behind. I wish they did.
Right.
Or,
Right.
And do you look back at that time and say, like, feel like the school system failed you as opposed to you failing?
No, sir. No, sir. Not at all. Not at all. That everything, like I said in the beginning, everything now that I'm older and learned and was started to read more, that everything starts with you and ends with you. So that is my fault, period. You know what I'm saying? Because of the simple fact, where I came from, and then when y'all met me in Westwood, that's when my life became better. But I had to get myself together, but I wasn't doing it. I just wasn't doing it, period. You know what I'm saying? So it's my fault. You know what I'm saying? Mom was trying to, do what she was supposed to do. You know what I mean? My brothers, you know what I'm saying? Reggie, everybody was trying. Matter of fact, our old friend, mutual friend, Fred Robinson, he was even trying to get me to do right. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I wasn't on that. I wasn't on that. You know what I'm saying? I see the pimps, the drug dealers, you know what I'm saying? All of that, the gang thing, I seen all of that. That's what interested me. That's what kept me focused on that, because I wanted the gold. I wanted the money. I wanted this. I just seen how they was living. So I was, at a young age, I was just toe up. And then I started getting in trouble, breaking the houses, stealing the cars, doing this, fighting, doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? And then you remember Donzel Ford and Charles Waller and all them? Mm-hmm. They was just doing what I like. So why not? You know what I'm saying? Wood Dog and all of them. You know what I'm saying? Wallace voted. Hey, that was my family. That's who showed me love, I thought. You understand? Mm-hmm. But now as I done got older and, went through the system, wasn't nobody there. Wasn't nobody there for me, but Willie Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Buffing he was the only one there for me. So till now, hey, it's my fault, bro. And that's what I need the youngsters to understand. Mm-hmm. Get your education. Get your education. If you don't understand, ask. You understand? Because I was held back in the third grade, as you know. You know what I mean? And ever since then, I just had to the attitude like whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know that sounds bad, but that's how I was at the age of what? 13, 10? You know what I'm saying?
Now,
I was just terrible.
Guy, as much as I respect your, ability to take that responsibility, I mean, third grade, you're 8 years old, you're 9 years old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like you're not a man yet. I mean, I'm looking at it like, okay, there are probably some things you didn't do right, but wasn't it something that the school could have done differently with you? Like you mentioned that you had, when you got into prison, they found out you had a mental illness. They couldn't test you before in the third grade when you got left back and when you were acting rambunctious?
Look and understand where and what year that was. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't thinking about mental health back then. You understand what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't even thinking about that. They really didn't start thinking about mental health until what? The what? 80s, the late 80s, 90s, you know what I'm saying? And as a young kid, like I say, if it attracts me as a kid, I'm gonna go for the diamonds and the lights and all of that. You know what I mean? So the school, Westwood, they didn't care. They didn't take the time to ask. Now that I look at it, you know what I'm saying? They didn't take the time to ask. So why bother a kid or why bother anybody to find out what's going on? Like Rev said, just lock him up. Just put him away. Pretty much. But if the same, Caucasian did the same thing, we gonna hug him and hold his hand and sit him down and give him some Kool-Aid and cookies and stuff. They not doing that for us, period, bro. I don't care if I'm 6, 7, 8. Even when I was going to juvenile jail, the youngest cat in there was like 7 years old. You understand what I'm talking about? And I was like, what, 11? Come on, man. They don't care. They don't care. Like he said, they don't care. Mass incarceration at an early age. And that will put you on a road to continue going in and out. Because we all know people who've been in and out several times.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy how I done went to the state. I've been a juvenile, several, you know what I'm saying? That was a long time. Then you do state, and then you go to federal. You understand what I'm saying? So I done been in all three, man, and you're going to see more blacks than anything. And they still not helping you. They still not going to help you, bro. You got to help yourself and get God in your life. That's all I can say, man. I'm just so happy I got God in my life that he showed me certain things. I have learned certain things by just being a spiritual, just changing my whole universe. You know what I'm saying? Just changing it, man. So the school now will probably help some youngsters. What's wrong with him? Oh, you know what I'm saying? But back then in our time, Dave, you know Dave, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You know, them 70s, well, we was what, 78, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
73, something like that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't paying us no attention, brother. And that's for real.
Right.
That's for real. You know?
Yeah, I had a question for both of y'all. You know, in our community, we take, you know, when we try to make some change, we have two approaches. One way is to try to change the laws and get the government to change things. The other way is to change the way we do some things in the community. What kind of things would you like to see on both levels? What kind of change would you like to see maybe in terms of laws or the justice system? And what kind of changes would you like to see in terms of how we organize ourselves inside of our own communities in order to break down some of that mass incarceration?
Well, I believe we should have more educational things, more places for the inner city to go and educate, no matter what it is, school and spiritual, architect, special, you know, what you call that, you know, like welding and auto mechanic and things like that, medical, you know, thing that's gonna last. and also to get with certain police stations and or police departments and even talk to them and let them know how we feel. I mean, somebody got to do something, you know what I mean? But we see what last week a kid got killed, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Well, shot. Yeah, he got shot in Chicago. So we understand that they human. We understand that, but they don't care. They don't care. They got the badge. They the law. And so I feel that we just need to continue to stand up, not violent, but let our voices be heard. That's just my opinion. More places for kids to be at, more educational things, positive things. Yeah.
Reverend Mercer.
I add judicial system wise, I would like to see something where it have to be mandated that judges give like sentence or probation to minorities or people of color, almost like, minority hiring. Like these 10% of these hirees have to be minorities. And in the judge ruling or the sentences should be visible to see that what sentences are you giving non-blacks as opposed to blacks. And like I said, it has to be mandated that so many people of color get like sentences or outreach programs or probation in the community. I would like to see more like town hall meetings of us getting together and the older people coming in and telling us their struggles. And it's just a fabric that being sown within our community of respecting one another. Because right now with the Black youth, how tough you are is how you can defeat or demolish or conquer another Black person. Why is that in our community and it's not in no other communities? Other communities, they pull together. They pull their resources together. They stand together economically. So I would like to have community meetings, town hall meetings, where it's being, ingrained in us to stick together, to pull together, to respect one another. And your toughness don't have to be what it is against somebody else that look like you.
Correct. I agree.
Now, what would you say?
I agree.
What would you say? And this would probably be a better question for Guy to answer. And Guy, you kind of already touched on it. And I say it probably a better question for you because, like Reverend Mercer said, he didn't have a juvenile record. He had, he was 32 and he was, basically did not have a pattern. You had a pattern as a youngster. So what would you say to our young people? What is some share with us, what do you say to your son as far as avoiding that trap?
Education, get your education, because no matter what, they can't take that from you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? I never got my education, you know what I'm saying, until now, you know what I'm saying, to what, 2016, 17, you know what I mean? So I tell him every day, don't follow my footsteps. My footprint, I done made a footprint for you. So live on your own name, live on Tony Brown's name. You already gonna have the respect because of who I am. You know what I'm saying? Everything is built because of what I have done. So all you got to do is go to school and get your education. Do anything you want to do, anything. But as long as you get that education, man, that's what I tell my son. And he's 13. I told my oldest son he can do whatever he wants to, but he'd rather follow my footprints. And like I told him, you're gonna end up just like I am. Like the guy said, you start out earlier, you throwing pebbles at the penitentiary door. You're throwing pebbles. So eventually, you're going to get close enough and you're going to knock that door wide open. And that's exactly what I did. I started at a young age now. You understand? And Randallwood, right after Randallwood, it was over.
Mm-hmm.
I was done. I was labeled. You know what I'm saying? I was a statistic. So, I mean, it is what it is. So I tell the youth, just get your education, please. Anything you want to talk about, like I tell them, we can pray, we can talk, we can cry, you can fuss, whatever you want to, I'm here. Guy Brown, Uncle Guy is right here. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I tell them. So, I mean, you don't want them to start young, man. You don't.
Now, Guy, you say, when we first started, you said, man, I was looking for love. And I'm, me knowing a little bit of your story, well, a lot of it probably. You know, I know you had your sister, you had your mother, so there was some love there. So what was lacking?
Because a lot of people don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Period.
Right.
Period. So if you can find love, or we think, actually, if you don't know how to receive love, you don't know what love is. You just don't. And I know my mama loved me. Like I say, I'm so proud of myself because of the way my mom saw me change. She saw me change my life over. You understand what I'm talking about? Instead of calling her from jail and calling her from here, Ma, I need this, I need that. She saw me become a grown man. I didn't grow up till I was 40, 42, 44 years old when I grew up.
Right.
You understand what I'm talking about? So when I grew up, I was cool. I was happy with myself. I started loving myself. I never loved myself. And so therefore, I didn't, you know, what happened to me when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? With my family. They still don't talk about it or be about it, but it's in here. It's in here. So once you get out of your mind, and because your mind will put you in prison too. You're a prisoner of your own mind. You understand what I'm talking about? So once you get out of your mind and start thinking positive, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. And that's what happened. I just didn't have the love, man. And I thought the streets loved me. You know what I'm saying? And they did for a minute until you realize when you need something from them. When you need something from them, they're not going to be there. Period.
Now,
Now
go ahead, Dr. Holmes.
Yeah, you talk about education and making more education available. And, you know, when we go into any city, any town, there's going to be basketball courts everywhere. And there are going to be, you know, certain things everywhere that even if you're a youth, you're going to see those things. Now, outside of the school, because sometimes the schools are not, you can't really do things in an informal way. So how can we what format can we use to make education available in a way that we have other things available? How can we make it so it's everywhere? So even if you're running away from it, it's right there in front of you.
I would say churches. I would say churches, man. I say we would have to go talk to these pastors and reverends and preachers, you know what I'm saying, and deacons and just explain to them and do certain things that attract the youth, the youngsters to come, you know, whatever they like, you know what I'm saying, and then that could turn into something, another network, another door, you know what I'm saying. They might like somebody in there, you know, as in a respectful elder person, you know what I'm saying? Because like me, I didn't have nobody telling me to stop, sit down, da-da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? They like, whatever, get out my face, you know, whatever, go outside. So that's what I did. And we didn't have nothing back then. So now I believe it should be the churches involved too. Yeah, instead of the counselors, because the counselors, to me, the counselors probably do it just because it's a job. You understand? But I believe the churches would help a little more because it's the godly thing to do. It's the righteous thing to do. But once again, we got to find out which one is serious and which ones are not, because that could be sheep and wolf clothing too. You understand? So that's how I feel. If we also need help too, or we just have to organize as older, you know, black men and do stuff, buy more buildings, do more things at the park. Okay, they're playing basketball at this park. If we think about it, the park got a lot of room. So why not throw some barbecues out there and talk to them and have mentors and things like that? Because I never had that. I never had that until I went to prison. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how I feel, because that's what I do now. I talk to every young cat I can. You know what I'm saying? I try to talk to them as much as I can and give them the full story. You understand? I don't BS with nobody. I don't do none of that. I tell them the truth. That ain't right. That ain't cool. Want to be cool? Do something good. Do something positive. And they look like a young cat I got working with me. He worked with me a few times, but I like him because he's not doing what the other kids are doing, the other youngsters are doing. You know what I'm saying? He's working and he's trying to do the right thing. He don't want to go on the street, but he say, Brother Brown, they talking about me because I'm different. I say, different is good. You understand what I'm saying? So I talk to him every now and again, you know what I mean? But that's how I feel. We need to get the churches or organize more black men to get together and do something. Yeah.
Now, Reverend Mercer, unless, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Holmes, you had another.
Well, I'll ask the Reverend, how do you think the churches, are gonna, what's the best way to get the churches involved?
I would say the community. People knock on the doors and say, listen, you in this neighborhood, a lot of people come and they worship here. They pay their tithes and their offerings. We want to set up some tutorship here. We want to set up some tutorship. We want you to be an asset in the community and not just on Sunday, collecting our tithes and offerings. And that's coming from a reverend, that I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
You drive in the city of Cleveland, and what you're going to see on every corner is a liquor store and a church. Yep. So if you want to drink, you can get it anywhere on any corner. And if you want Jesus, you can get it anywhere in any corner. But also, you're supposed to help the needy. When Paul in the Bible talked about collecting money, it was for the needy saints. It wasn't for no building funds and this and this and that. It was for the needy saints. And needy can also be our underprivileged children. And I also think recreation centers, set up tutorships in a recreation center. And like I said, because we have churches on every corner in neighborhoods, I just believe if we get out there and we canvass, at least every other street should have a tutor on it. And the tutor can be a high school student on honor roll, a college student, a teacher, current teacher, a retired teacher, professor. Dave, I would knock on your door and say, listen, can you volunteer 4 hours a week?
And that would be no problem.
Exactly.
Right.
And I know you would do it. And I know your professor would do it. And we can have a tutor on every other street in our community. I believe that can excel education, through our neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Now,
I agree with that.
Now I want to touch on 2 points. I know we're winding down. We done talked a while. Well, first of all, I want to make one point. When both of y'all talked about the churches in the community. I remember in the community we grew up, there was a churchyard. I was never a big basketball player, but I remember there was a churchyard where you could come up there and play basketball, but you had to attend Bible study first. I remember that. Exactly. I can't remember that pastor's name, but he's like, come on
from John Dewey.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody can come and play, but you got to attend Bible study first. And people had their different opinions on religion and whatever. So people have different faiths, but I am a firm believer in that some type of faith is going to keep a kid on a straight and narrow path. If they're following that faith and believing that, and their parents are instilling that, and the community is instilling that, it's gonna be much better than being a thug, definitely. Yep. So there's 2 points I want to talk about. One, the impact on family, and then I want to close out with how both of you guys, I would say, turned it around and what you did post-prison. Now, I remember I had a cousin myself that was murdered back in 2013. He was actually the first death in the city of Cleveland for that year. Mm-hmm. And when people see that, they don't necessarily think about the impact on the family, the whole family, and how it's still impacting us to this day. And so, and it's the same thing with somebody going to prison. When you lock up one brother, okay, like Reverend Mercer said, they getting this brother, that had no record. He's not given a second chance. We're going to lock him up and get free labor out of him. They're not thinking about what it does to the family, not just, whether that brother is married or his mom, his children. So either one of y'all want to start with that? Talk about the impact of your prison sentence on your family and how that's still being felt today, if at all.
Well, I know me and my sister was always close. Everybody know that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It hurt her. It hurt her, you know what I'm saying? It hurt my nephew, Chris, you know what I mean? She was there for me. She was there for me. Every time I went to prison, she was there for me. You understand what I'm saying? Then when I went to the federal penitentiary, she was there for me also. But when I came home, no, let me rewind. My son, he was 4 when I went away. It hurt him. It hurt him bad. You know what I'm saying? I know it because I had him every single day. You know what I'm saying? We still talk about the things that we used to do. So I know that hurt him. You know what I'm saying? My mom, you know, she was still going through it because she was like, whatever, you know what I mean? But my sister, my nephew, and my son, it hurt them bad. It hurt them bad. It hurt them bad. It hurt them bad. And people don't understand that. They don't understand. And my auntie Smellas, they don't care. They don't care about that until one of their people go to jail, and then they understand what it's really like. You know what I mean? So that hurt. And then when I came home, you know, what changed my life, like I say, I grew up when I was 44. That's when I started walking with the Lord. That's when I started walking to the kingdom, working for the kingdom, doing things to better myself. But I had to find the love. I had to find the love myself. I had to learn how to do it. You understand? So that's how my story ends. And I haven't looked back. I own my own business. I'm a black business owner. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I got my son. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I changed my life. My mama was able to see me change my life. My sister, you know what I'm saying? So once again, it starts with you, it ends with you. And I can't blame nobody else. I cannot blame nobody else for what I have done. You know what I'm saying? I was terrible. I was terrible. I was terrible. But now, look at me now. I'm shining like a star.
Right. And
You know?
Reverend,
So that's how I feel.
and Reverend Mercer, what would you say as far as the impact on your family and how it's still being felt today, if at all?
First, I just want to thank you for being a friend when I was in prison. Always writing me, sending me magazines, sending me money. I just want to appreciate you, brother, for being there with me the whole entire time.
Hey, no problem, brother.
I just want to thank you for that, brother. But I would say that it impacted my 2 sons the most. They were 2 and 9 at the time, and it deprived them of a father for 8 years, you know, not going to none of their games, the teacher parents conference, giving, you know, good advice as a father, just being there, you know, a child feel protected by their father. So me not being there for 8 years, they didn't know what it felt like to have a father for 8 years. So I believe they felt that impact. And even though they're grown now, 28 and 21, they still talk to me sometimes about it. You know, I miss you, Dad, when you was gone. I wish you was here at this time and wish you was here at that time and everything. But I'm glad I'm here. Also, it impacted, you know, other people in my life, you know, that love me. You know, I got to play 2 play sisters, Karen and Monica. I got to play mother and play father, impacted them. My father at the time, I believe, was like 79 years old when I went to prison. So he was always worried about me and always said, I can't believe that you in prison. But by the grace of God, I made it through. And y'all don't call me Reverend in vain because I am an ordained Reverend. Gave my life to God. I say, but it's improperly. I gave my life to God when I was in prison, but that's not true. David, you can attest to this. I gave my life to God when I was on bond, because remember we was at that bachelor party.
Yes.
At Shock's house.
Right.
And when the strippers came out, I went in the back room. I told you, I said, man, I can't be out with the strippers.
Right.
You know, I done gave my life to God. Whether I go to prison or not, I gave my life to God. So, but I gave my life to God, got a college education, became a tutor. And just like I said, it's my fault, but I'm not looking back. And if I can just be a positive influence, give some godly advice, just be an example for the youngest today. I just feel like my prison stint, my incarceration wasn't in vain.
Okay, okay, I like that.
Exactly.
And to either of you, especially you, Reverend Mercer, if there's a young guy dealing with something, and is there a way that they could reach out to either of you, and like, as we say, seek wise counsel?
Hey, absolutely. My email is my name, Darryl Mercer @hotmail.com. I'm on Facebook, Darryl Mercer. And yeah, you can always seek me out, as a reverend and just a guy that came to the street and a former boxer. I'm open to talk about anything and everything. I may not have all the answers, but we'll find it together. We'll sit down and great minds, can come together. And we just now meeting Dr. Neal, so I know we can have him and pick through his brain all those books I see in his background.
Right.
That's just the background.
Exactly.
I know he has some knowledge. And like I say, I can't give you the answer. I can call my good friend David Roberts, or I can call Dr. Neal, and we'll get it.
We get it together. Yeah.
No doubt.
How do you spell your Darryl?
DARRYL.
And when we edit this, I'm going to put it up on the screen, what you told me, so it'll be visible. And Guy, what about you?
Oh man, I'm on Facebook. My phone. I answer my phone for the bill collectors. Okay, so you can call me anytime. My phone line is always open. I got cold water. I got tea. I got Pepsi. I got lemonade. And I'm always here to just say the right thing. I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. You know what I mean? If I got to put you to work, I'll put you to work. I mean, anything positive to talk to anybody. 216-856-5355. Call me whenever you like, or hit me on Facebook, Guy Brown. Yeah.
All right. And since both of you were kind enough to join us today, why don't we give a shameless plug to both of your businesses? Guy, you have a landscaping business, right?
Right. Lawn care.
Okay, so how can they reach out to you for some lawn care in the city of Cleveland, right? Cleveland and the surrounding area.
Surrounding areas. Go to my Facebook page, Guy Brown, and then you will see all my work on there. Or call me 216-856-5355. S&G Lawn Care and Services.
All right. And Reverend Mercer, you said, Reverend Mercer, if somebody wants a car, they can come to you, right?
Amen. I sell affordable, good running used cars at 82nd and Harvard. The address is 8120 Harvard Avenue, and that's Cleveland, Ohio. I'm just right by the intersection of Harvard and Broadway, or you can contact me at 216-999-7771.
We'll definitely have that up on the screen. Well, on behalf of Dr. Neal Holmes and myself, we just want to thank you two brothers for joining us. It's crazy to be on screen, doing this with you guys. I mean, this is like 40 years back, man. I mean,
40, bro. 40.
If we'd have started reminiscing, though, we'd have took up the whole
time.
Oh, the whole time,
The whole time.
Hey, the football down in the circle, man. You know what I mean?
Jerry Wood.
Right?
Jerry Wood.
Hey, well, thanks, man. I appreciate y'all being on, and I'm going to have to have y'all back on another time, man. Is that all right?
All right, brother. And I appreciate you. God bless you in your journey, man. You too, right, Dr. Neal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brothers.
Lord, yes, papi. Hit me one time and make it funky.
I was brought up and told to have no fear.